Thanks to all of you who are here. It's a great show. And thanks to all of you out there watching. Steve's doing a good job getting us out over the internet. I'm Dominic, Vice President with Market Broadcasting. And I'll be moderating tonight. And my co-moderator is Dana Walter, Chief Executive Officer of the Mojave Valley Bullhead City Association of Realtors. So we're just going to get a quick round of applause for each of our candidates as I announce them. Number one, Tammy Reed. Number two, Brittany Kidwell. Number three, Jackie Miller. Number four, Dan Alfonso. Number five, Pamela Smith. And number six, Annette Wegman-Lowe. Now, all of our candidates are apprised of the forum's format prior to the evening and agreed to adhere to the regulations, which I'll now explain to each of you. Prior to taking their seats, our candidates drew numbers to determine the order of the questions answered. Candidate one, Tammy Ring, will be allowed to answer the opening question, followed by Brittany Kidwell, Jackie Miller, Dan Alfonso, Pamela Smith, and Annette Wegman, just as they are in their seats from left to right. The second question will be answered by candidate number two, Brittany Kidwell, and to be followed by Jackie Miller, Dan Alfonso, Pamela Smith, and Annette Wegman, and back to Tammy Ring. And each question will rotate down the line like that until we're through all the questions. The process continues until we're done, and each of these questions are from the audience tonight. We weren't sure how many we were going to get, so we had some submitted online, but we had plenty from the audience. It's the first time any of these candidates will hear or see these questions. Should a candidate be personally referenced in another candidate's answer, they will be allowed a 90-second rebuttal. And the candidate who is asked the question has 2 minutes to answer. And that's pretty much it. Dana?
Thank you, John. The timekeeper is sitting up in the front with us. And when the candidate has 30 seconds remaining to answer, the timekeeper will hold the card up that says 30 seconds, indicating that you have 30 seconds to finish your answer. At 15 seconds, the timekeeper will hold up a card that says 15 seconds. And then that is your wrap up and see the stop sign. If the candidate continues speaking after the stop card is hung up, the moderator will say thank you and we'll move on to the next speaker. If the candidate repeatedly goes over time and speaks over another candidate's time, their microphone may be muted. Personal attacks about other candidates are out of order and out of line and will not be tolerated. Repeated violations of this rule may result in muting and or dismissal from the stage.
In addition, this forum is being broadcast live and will be rebroadcast several times on the Mojave Valley Daily News Facebook page, website, and YouTube page. It's also being simulcast on Murphy Broadcasting Bullhead City Facebook page. If I could ask you to all silence your cell phones, we request that you treat all the candidates with the respect they deserve. Please refrain from applause until the last question has been answered by all the candidates. And I don't think I see anything, but I'm just going to mention it anyway. No campaign literature or signs are allowed inside this room. Okay, we're going to start as we get back to our table with a short 3-minute opening statement from each candidate, followed by the Q&A session. Jamie, you can start with your 3-minute introduction.
Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate your help. Gets me very interested in this race, which you should be. I am a familiar face around town. I'm running on, this will be my 4th term if I get elected. I've had three 4-year terms. And, I would like to be elected for this 2-year term. I'll tell you why. I'm very passionate about it. Because a 2-year term should not exist. It exists for one reason. Somebody dies, unfortunately, they resign, they whatever, they get promoted. But we've had too many of those. And I believe that the position should be elected by the people. And, I have, a track record. I have accomplishments that I have done. You know, we were talking the other day. The first ordinance that I passed, which was kind of silly, it's actually a state law. Any population over 800,000, it's already done. I'm gonna sit down. I'm nervous. And, so anyway, what it was you can't pass out animals in the front of public places, the parks, those kind of things. And so that didn't do that. And I went through the regatta, the leash law, we talked about that the other day. If you've ever been sat on council during a leash law, it's extremely, interesting. I don't know, I think it was 2014, 15, I think it's 2014. We had all the dog problems. Remember that people were getting bit, and Mayor Vic's, the old Mayor Vic, her husband got killed, and yes, all these owners. Anyway, the whole thing was just a joke that we said, who let the dogs out? And I did approve Catholic Charities. I was the only one, I mean, the only one on council right now that did approve Catholic Charities Shelter. I also passed the, I don't know if you've seen these signs around town. They're, like a Target, Target, Waller, Holy Corners, Home Depot, and it says, it's okay to say no to panhandlers. It says give to organizations that can help, and the list is on the back. And one of the last ed court, I went through the ed court. I'm the only one on council that went through ed court too. So I have experience. I want to close with this. When I got off council in 2020, I was just so glad that we passed In God We Trust. We passed it. It went twice. We got it a couple times, but it did pass. It did pass. And it would not have passed if we had gone later. Thank you.
Your microphone now will work. You can just touch the button, hold the button for a few seconds. Yeah, it's muted over here. So just hold it till you see that.
Check.
There you go.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Brittany Kidwell. I've never done anything like this before, so I haven't really had a chance to screw up for any of you guys yet. So, hopefully I wouldn't, because I am just like all of you. I live in this community. I care about this community, and I feel like I have a lot of the same values and views as a lot of people in this room, if not everybody. With the same things that are important to you are important to me as well, and those are things that I would be focusing on. Some new things I think that the city has done really well with what they've already done, but we can do better and we can do more. So that's kind of why I'm here, is just to press the issue on more for things that are not being privatized.
Good evening, everybody. It's so good to see all of you here that share so much and so deeply about our community, and that includes all of you out there live streaming. I am Jackie Miller, and I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a native Las Vegas, and I have lived in several other states and cities, including 3 other rural communities. That gives me a little bit of background as far as growing pains that happen typically in a community. I am a very proud parent of a police officer's son who lives in North Carolina, raising his family. I have 2 grandchildren, and they are doing marvelously back there. And I'm just so proud of him. It means everything. That's why law enforcement means a great deal to me personally. I am also a person who has been a single mom. I'm a person who has been a business owner, both home-based and bricks and mortar, so that's important as well. Also, I was for a time a practicing licensed chemical dependency counselor, which gives me a little bit of a unique perspective on, obviously, we have some drug addiction problems in our community. Very quickly, short version of my platform, I'm about enhanced law enforcement, goes without saying, well-managed growth. Slow it down, sometimes maybe a little bit of things there. And I'd like to see us do everything we can as a city to make sure our small businesses, both new and existing, that we are making sure we're setting them up for success, not failure. Also, I'm for investing in some of our both older residential as well as commercial properties. I made a pledge to be a watchdog for our seniors on the fixed income and the working poor of our community. I will never vote for anything that further burdens them financially. And lastly, so many of you know this, I am also for a moratorium on those terrible storage facilities being on our major thoroughfares. Thank you. I look forward to your vote. I look forward to your vote on July 21st.
Good evening, Chairman. My name is Dan Alfonso, Associate Vice Mayor here at Studio Building. Also Executive Vice President of the Metropolitan Planning Organization. I've been on the Contractors Board and Vice Chairman of the Adjustments Board. I'm seeking reappointment to Bullhead City Council. Self-started, highly motivated, and I strive for excellence. I'm not here because I'm a career politician, I'm an elected official. I'm here because I'm a neighbor. I'm here because I sit in the same traffic as you on Highway 95, and I pay taxes like you. I have witnessed the incredible growth potential and growth pains of our city, and plan to work right along with it since the fantastic team that we have, not only in the council, but in the staff of the city. I've lived here in Bullhead City for 9 years with my wife, Lincoln. And needless to say, we have 2 children. There's a daughter who graduated from San Diego State, a son graduated from Naval Academy. He's a captain, base commander, submarines, and underwater drones up in Seattle. We deserve a council that doesn't just react to problems after they happen, but anticipate them before they start. We need a voice that values the character of our neighborhoods as much as the numbers on the balance sheet. As to my background, the highest degree I have is a doctorate degree in law. I have been in-house counsel for 46 years. To many of the top 100 Fortune 500 companies, numerous government agencies, and foreign government, and the United States as I mentioned, as well as small business. I have a top secret clearance and the E clearance for nuclear for the Department of Energy. I possess a high standard of ethics as a negotiator, consultant, arbitrator, litigator. I have the ability to be proactive in supporting a team environment, having had hands-on interaction with public, private, foreign, and domestic organizations and worldwide industry. I possess the necessary advances and handling all and any issues that come in front of us with a strong desire to excel. The United States Air Force veteran and 3 honorable discharges. I'm a writer, author, publisher, and distributor of several books that I have written, several that have been a contributor. I'm also a member of numerous federal organizations I have been a member of, and the extent of 45 years. I believe in the United States Constitution, First Amendment, and Second Amendment, and equal rights for everyone. Thank you very much.
Good evening. What a great panel. I am so impressed to see this many people out here. My name is Pamela Smith, and I'm asking for your votes to Bullhead City Council for the 4-year term. There are 2 4-year terms available and 1 2-year term. And I'm sure you're asking, why should I vote for her? Well, When I got appointed, prior to being appointed to council in July of 2025, in the first round, with a 5-1 vote, with 10 different applicants, I was on planning and zoning for 4 years. 2 of those, I served as the planning chair, which was quite an honor. Let me ask, how many of you actually watch or attend our council meetings? Great. So if you watch them, you know that I do my homework and I ask questions. And that, that leads to conversation and discussion, which is always a good thing. I'm a fiscal conservative with a voting record of council to back it up. My campaign is 100% self-funded. I receive no donations. Therefore, my only obligation is to you, the voter. A few of my priorities while on council are, of course, police department. We just passed the budget yesterday. We approved 4 new police officers, new equipment, new vehicles, the protective equipment, guns, ammo. We also have 3 new officers just sworn in. 2 of them just came out of the academy and will be doing their field training. 1 of them is a lateral from a different department. We have 6 to 8 cadets in line to go to the next academy, excuse me. And we have 3 to 4 potential lateral transfers in process. So the police department is looking good, and it's starting to fill our vacancies that we've had over the years. Next thing that's important to me is keeping local control. The state often tries to pass regulations and laws that do a one-size-fits-all for cities. That doesn't work for us. We need to have control of our own zoning. We need to have control of how things work in our city, not let the state do it for us. The last thing I wanted to mention was private property rights. We cannot, and we should not, tell people what they can build if the property is zoned for that. We can, however, put some architectural design features so that things aren't quite maybe as ugly. So thank you for your time, and if you want to participate, you're the approved track person. As a fiscal conservative, please vote countless now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Annette Wegman-Wood. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This is a wonderful turnout. I originally moved here 19 years ago from Texas. I have been in the home health and hospice industry for 19 years as well. I raised my 3 children here as a single mom. Got a couple of them through college, and they're all on their own, doing the best and living the best life that they can. The community was very good to me as I raised my children here. I threw myself into the community. Several boards I served on, lots of projects that I had worked on. The Boys and Girls Club, the Chamber of Commerce, lots of things like that. I served on council for 6 years, 1 year as vice mayor. The main projects that I am very, very proud to be part of course, the airport takeover, the new bridge to Auckland, Dot Foods, what they've done for our community, how many jobs they brought here, how many houses that have been sold and built, that really helped our economy tremendously. So I would like to see our growth in this community. I would like to see a positive impact, financial impact on this community. I would like to welcome younger families, but yes, this is, and I can say this because I'm a senior, this is there are retirees that come here, and we need to make sure that they can live here comfortably. We need to take care of our seniors, we need to take care of our veterans, and hope to keep this community a very economical place to live. So those are some of the things that I want to continue to do. Again, I have given 100% of myself while I'm on council, while living in this community, and I'm going to continue to do so. So I would hope that you would give your vote, and I thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, candidates. Now, before we get into the Q&A, I'd be remiss if we didn't honor our great country with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if everybody would please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, question number one. What can the city realistically do to help with the housing situation? What can the city realistically do to help with the housing situation? Tammy Ring, you have 2 minutes. You're first.
Well, we're actually already doing it. We just built some, you gotta get the developers and you gotta get the builders. It's not the city that brings, the city brings it in, we try to bring it in. But somebody's gotta pay for it. The city can't pay for it. We're not in that. But, we have a housing shortage. We know that. You know, we need more developers. That's really what we need. We need people to come in and start building. I don't know what else to say. We're very aware of that. I mean, but it's not, I know that we are constantly, all three of the city managers are constantly talking to people to try to bring them in to build something. So anyway, thank you.
I'm gonna be very honest, that question's really vague. So I don't have anything to say.
Okay,
I'm on the spot. You know, Tammy's got a good point. They're doing everything they can at this point. There's a couple of things maybe that could be done, to nudge developers a little bit more as far as getting what I call, you know, more affordable single family housing. And maybe accommodating more manufactured housing. Because manufactured housing sometimes is a better option for our young families to start out with. So that would be nice to see a little bit more of that going on. But maybe other types of businesses, like I know everybody's been a boo kiss at me on this or something. But like the Trader Joneses and things like that, I mean, most people, that's their second thing after Olive Garden. But it's true. You know, like Trader Joe's and maybe in other kinds of businesses, more mom and pop shops. That way, you know, sometimes you do a build it and they will cut kind of thing, doesn't always pan out. So that's the only thing I can think of on a citywide basis is just, you know, continuing and continuing to try and get more business in here. And then of course the road infrastructure. Thank you.
thank you very much for the question. As far as the housing sector, I'll write that question first. The buildings that we have here is strong infrastructure, and then the guys that work there, working builders, get an offer from Henderson to Las Vegas for $15-20 an hour more, pick up immediately. So it's a shortage of labor. And unless the labor is paid adequately for their services, like you would find in other cities, it's very difficult to line them up. The city does do an awful lot, going to various seminars, San Diego, Phoenix, as well as Washington DC, trying to instill builders to come here. And it's just a matter of, people do not think that a reasonable price per house is $450,000. They're looking at the neighborhood of about 225,000. The builders cannot, with the cost of material and everything else today, I'll address Trader Joe's also. For Trader Joe's to be here, you have to have 150,000 people in a 15-mile radius. Costco, you need 250,000 people in a 25-mile radius. Don't count it in our lifetime because I've talked to them, Toby Carter's talked to them many times, and it's just not this type of, we love to have, I'd like to once a month to have to go to the place. But at the same time, we don't have the people here that can actually feed those types of businesses. Thank you very much.
So as Brittany said, this is very vague, so I presume they're talking about housing shortage and affordable housing. And it's a two-sided coin. One side of the coin, we need more affordable housing, which actually we've got 155 units being built right now that will be considered affordable. The other side of the coin is when you start building, then you have people saying, we don't want any more houses, it's too much traffic. So you gotta weigh that too, because those are issues that people deal with day in and day out. In answer to the question of what can we do, the city makes it very easy to build in this county. Absolutely, the 320 housing units last year, more than Mojave County, Lake Havasu, or Kingman did, were done in Bullhead City. If they were making it challenging or making permitting difficult, you would not be able to get 320 houses built. So the city's doing what they can do to try to work with the developers to get them to come to town, but like Dan said, they have to be able to pay for their house to make some money. And if they can't charge $400,000 or $500,000, a lot of them don't want to come here.
I will say the city does an amazing job with housing permits. They are on it, they make it happen. And I don't think they interfere at all with the home building industry. I will say we have some beautiful gated communities, beautiful 500 over housing, but we need the lower end. We do need the lower end, and we need to make sure that we're hiring local contractors. We don't need to bring people from the outside. We have plenty of local contractors that deserve a chance to be part of what's being built in our community. Hats off to the city with their permitting. We can build beautiful communities in the lower end, and they don't have to have HOAs, and they don't have to be gated. So that will keep the housing price down. Again, I support all local contractors in this area. Thank you.
Okay, Brittany, let's start this first. What is each candidate planning to do to actively work on getting control of the transients in our community? What is each candidate planning to do to actively work on getting control of the transients in our community? The homeless and
That's another big question. I think somebody. No, that's good.
Yeah, we're fine. Well, there's a couple of different things we can do. I guess you could call it self-deporting, but seriously, you know, here's the thing. The best thing we can do to stop this is don't give them money. Okay? Do not give them money. I know so many of you out there have huge hearts, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But you're actually doing more harm than good. Okay? Give your money to places like Catholic Charities and River Fund and et cetera. Those are the people that specialize in helping some of these people. Okay? There are some homeless, AKA transients. Not all, but some. They prefer to live that way. But they will always go to cities where they know they've got easy pickings. Okay? I've lived in some of these cities, and one of the things they did do was constantly, the local PD had on all kinds of Facebook pages, PSAs. Please don't give them money. And guess what? Eventually, you would start seeing the population of these transients in parking lots and such kind of start disappearing. So there's one thing we can do right there. Thank you all very much.
When we talk about transients and those individuals who do not have housing, that is true. We have people that do go to Catholic Charities, and I can give you stats as to number of showers, laundry, cleaning, everything for the month of May. the city gives them about $150,000 a year. You give them $100-some thousand a year to river fund. They give money to the Logan, food bank. And there's about 15 other agencies in the town, and every group there in the town, whether it's road maker, whether it's and they all collect and have different groups collecting money to support them. You can't get these people out, you can't force them out. You violate their constitutional rights. If you stop giving them money, which you should not do because you'll get a ticket, and if you on the city streets. But if there's not somebody around to help them with their food, and I in Bullhead City, food bank, it does almost 4 million pounds of food a year. And it goes to about 35,000 pounds monthly. You can't get food there. But you're not gonna get it wrong. You don't have to leave on their own. We're just something. That's all we can say. Thank you.
The question asked about transients, but I presume it's referring to homeless and or transients, because there is a difference. You know, you've got the family of 4 that the husband just lost the job or got ill, and they've got financial issues. We have programs in this town, a lot of programs, more than my previous town, to help these people that need help, just need a helping hand up. Then you've got the transients who want to live the way they're living, and that's their choice, but take it elsewhere. Because we don't want to be cleaning up like the mess in the desert. We don't want to be you panhandling on the corners. So the question was, what can each clan is planning to do? We have our new chief of police who has publicly stated that, well, look, I'm gonna have to paraphrase because I don't remember exactly how he said it. But he will be contacting, offering services, if they choose not to take services, offering to take them to jail or put them on a bus. And that's exactly what we need. Thank you.
Tax off to our new police chief, the thing about, if you put them in jail, you're just gonna let them out, and that's just the cycle. But if you wanna stop the problem, then we do need to ship them out. You know, they're human beings. Some of them are down and out, some of them want to be there, some of them want to live in the streets, they don't want real life. But there are a lot of resources here. There's the food bank, of course, there's the Catholic Charities. There's a lot that can be offered to them. So don't give them money, please. Don't give them food because they have those resources. However, some of them are mental. Some of them have some mental problems. And I wish we had more resources here where we could try to help them mentally, to see what we could do to better, just to better them a little bit. I know we had a gentleman at the Catholic Church. He wanted to get off the streets. We got him a job. We got him a bank checks. Taught him how to write a check. And he did it for 6 months. And then he came back and he said, I can't do it anymore. I cannot do this. There's something in my head. I need help. And at that point, there wasn't a whole lot we could do for him. So a lot of them don't have health care. So what are their options, honestly, when it comes to mental health? And there's a lot of that here. Again, I hope this police chief can make some changes and get some things done. But putting them in jail, they're just gonna get back. Thank you.
This is my alley. I'm gonna call it what it is, and, it's drug addiction and it is mental illness. That's what it is. It is not unhoused, it is not homeless, it is not any of that. So until we call it what it is, okay. So I'm gonna tell you kind of a funny little story. I did it one time in Minden, Nebraska, real tiny little town, a farming community. We call it a drifter. You get a drifter. We got a drifter. Well, like, please want to work on the farm? No. Gone. I mean, it's taken the next town, just passing on down. We didn't have a problem. We didn't have any problem. But over the year now, this is ridiculous. LA is bad. LA is really bad. This thing is extremely, this thing is as aggressive as they can be. As far as the transits, we'll call them transits. So we give them $127,000. We give cafeteria $127,000 a year. And I really didn't want to give it to them, but we give it to them so they can feed the people from 9 to 3 or whatever. So what we were doing, we had no accountability, none. Just give them a check in August, September, whatever. Here's $127,000. We had no reporting, we had nothing. So I agreed, okay, let's give them the money, but they now have to be accountable. And they get a check once a month, and they have to give us a call report once a month. That's not, that way we can know the ages they are, where are they from, which is a big problem. And yeah, that's a big problem. But anyway, thank you.
Okay, question number 3. How many city council meetings have each of you attended? You are the Jackie.
I have no clue. I go to an awful lot of them. I honestly, guys, I can tell you I go to a lot of them. And sit there and I listen and I watch and I observe and I absorb what the other members are doing so that I can get a feel for it. When hopefully you'll let me on July 21st. But seriously, I have no accurate count. It's been that many. Seriously, and not to mention the times I've watched it on one of my gizmos or gadgets. So, but in person, I really couldn't give an accurate count. Thank you all.
One little big one. The third day that my wife and I lived here in Bullhead City, I said, gee, I'm retired now, what do you do? I looked at a certain website that I go to, and looked at the newspaper, it said there's a council meeting coming up. And this was on Monday. So Tuesday, we went to a council meeting, the first one. We sat in the audience for 4 years, we missed one time. And the times that we missed, I was in a hospital getting a kidney stone plucked out. Well, then there'd be somebody who wrong. We missed only one meeting, that was 2 years ago in April, when I got a call from the Pentagon, my son was being elevated to a Navy captain and taking over a submarine base with drones up in Seattle. And we had to attend that, and that was a one of the excused absence. So to answer your question on that, I would say 99.9% of every meeting in the last 8 years. Thank you.
And question, I think, obviously, since being appointed to council, every one of them. Prior to being appointed to council, I've lived here for 8 years. I've gone to every council meeting, workshop, special meeting for 8 years, with the exception of about 5, because I had to travel for family obligations out of state. So thanks for asking it, whoever asked that question.
Well, I've been to a whole lot of council meetings. The 6 years that I served, I did not miss one meeting except one, and it was during COVID, where I had to call in because I was exposed and had to go to the college and get tested to see if I was a positive or negative. So I was a negative, but I had to wait so much time. So that was the only council meeting I ever missed in 6 years, and I was really kind of sad to miss it because I never missed one. But I didn't want to expose anybody if I had COVID, but I didn't. Thank the Lord. Anyway, thank you.
Oh, best I can tell is 276.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I have 5 kids, my youngest being 8 weeks old. And if I don't have to be somewhere, I'm not going to. I watch it every week, well, every other week, online while I'm taking care of my kids, doing the dishes, doing whatever I need to do. That's not to say that obviously if I was elected that I wouldn't be there, because again, if you saw my schedule today, I've been up and going since 5 a.m. I've been to Vegas and back today. All of my kids have been dropped off where they need to be, and I was here early. So if I need to be somewhere, I will be, but with online now, it's available to me to do what I need to do.
Thank you. Where do you see Bullhead City in 5 years?
Yeah, if you've been keeping up in all with what's happening with city council and what's happening with the city, you would know that probably within the next 5 to 7 years, there will be, let's start with, Emerald Bay coming in. Jack Nicklaus Golf Course, they're going to be putting multi-million-dollar homes. It'll be a thing there where the boats can come in, build will be there. And the homes will be 240 homes starting with week about 1.3 million. You'll have condos there, you'll have golf chalets, you'll be able to buy, rent, or lease. That's one. The next one is our community park. And on the drawing for community park to show you what it looks like, when you come up from Highway 95, go up Lafayette Range Boulevard, on the right-hand side, you'll see, thank you. You'll see 5 ballparks, you'll see a home track, you'll see an archery range. On the left side, you'll see a huge lake which will be used for animals. The community park will be north, central, and south. And it's about $70 to $90 million over the years to make that happen. As well as the marketing we're doing as a global park. As you'll know, right now in community park, there's a $340,000 ADA group being done. So there's a lot going on. If you come to any of the meetings or watch anything, you'll find out. Thank you very much.
Can I just say ditto? No, just, you may have noticed Wally Walnuts with a sign. They're about ready to open. We've got right now 12 commercial projects in the works. Wally Walnuts is the indoor playground for kids. So that's getting closer and closer. It's been doing a lot of remodeling, especially old Rose's furniture. We've also got, we're gonna have a variety of job opportunities here. We've got some commercial business coming in, such as technology. So everything will be sort of dependent upon service-oriented jobs. We've got, I think it's Mila who mentioned she was voting now. So volleyball, the 8 companies, so manufacturing, the Rose Acres, they're not catching any. I mean, there's not gonna be chickens there. What they're doing is they get the eggs from their other facilities and they're cracking them to make those liquid egg products. And that will be up there off the parkway. We've got, and of course, don't forget Olive Garden. So we're gonna have a variety of housing between affordable to the ultra rich. But we're also gonna have a variety of job opportunities coming into the near future.
Definitely more jobs in our community, absolutely, more growth. I'm open to more growth. But what I would really like to see is a higher census in our community. We've been pretty steady for a little bit now. We have a lot of vacationers and seasonal folks that have a second home here, but I would like to see people that we can count on our census, where their primary residence is here in Bullhead City, because it helps us. We get more money when we have a higher population. With that, more registered voters. We need more registered voters. It's really kind of sad what our turnout is. It's very sad. And being a registered voter is a wonderful opportunity to have, it's a privilege to have that. And that's all I got, thank you.
What do you think I look like in 5 years? It's, well, just look at the last 5 years, what's happened in the last 5 years. Look at all the turn lanes, look at our parks, look at the river. Look, this has just been in the last 5 years. Look at the Lions Boulevard. It's, we are Bullhead City. Do you guys go down to the park, the new animal shelter? Yeah. You've got to go down there. It is probably the nicest one in probably Arizona. It's beautiful. But anyway, those kind of things are kind of, you can't stop that. You can't stop that. The parks, we've got our tourists, we've got the river, we've got everything. And we're just gonna keep growing. So thank you.
The growth thing is kind of tricky for me because I love living in a small town. And in my head, going back to the transient question, does more growth not bring more of that? I don't know how that's to won't go hand in hand. If you look at big cities, they're overrun by homeless, so I don't really understand how growing more stops that, and that's the problem for everybody. But then there's half the town wants to grow, half the town doesn't want to grow. I can't really say that I'm 100% for all the growth that they're planning right now.
I've been here just a scooch over 5 years, and it is amazing what I've already seen to Tammy's Point change in 5 years. And like the right-hand turn lanes, what a gift. I'm sure we all agree with that. What if I see Bullhead in 5 years? I would like to see more affordable housing. Yeah, like Dan said, $400,000 and $500,000 homes, that's not affordable. So we do need to think about that because we have to keep a workforce. We simply have to. So I do see much better paying jobs through industry and tech. I do see that. I kind of sort of do see a Trader Joe's. We all have our fantasies. The other thing I think I'd like to see, or I will be here in 5 years, is indoor activities for our young people. Like say a bowling alley or a miniature golf. These are things for kids of all ages, but indoors. So when it's like it is outside right now, they have a safe environment and a fun environment to be in. Thank you.
Okay, question number 5. Data centers are coming to Arizona. There's lots of pros, but there's also lots of cons. Having some will probably bring jobs to the area, but is it worth it?
Okay, data centers is a huge topic of conversation. It is my understanding that things like this town's put a moratorium for 3 years or 4 years, I don't remember which, on data centers. However, there was one previously planned in the White Hills, which is grandfathered in. Data centers have, there's some new technology that they can have a closed loop system so that they are not using all of the water. If that in fact is true, and if that in fact works, and they're using no more water than any other commercial building, and they can produce their own electricity without us, the ratepayers, putting the bill to set it all up and end up paying for it in the long run. Again, all about private property rights. But there's conditions, again, they can't use all their water. It's not in a closed loop system. If that in reality, this is what I've read. I know nothing about this, so I don't know if it's true technology or not. But if in fact that could be done, and they could supply their own energy, or MEC is gonna guarantee us that we're not gonna be charged for it, then I say, let it.
I would agree, and, if it's going to be beneficial to the community and not affect the citizens, then let them come, and of course, if they're bringing more jobs, that's a win-win for our community.
glad I watched my YouTube on data centers the other day. I can't remember where it was. I can't, it was very interesting, but it was basically what Pam was saying, and the people, you saying jobs, but I have to get the question because you have to build them. There's gonna be jobs, but once they're built, is there jobs? I don't know. Is there? Is that there's no jobs? So that's not, it's not very jobs, they're not permanent jobs, temporary. But wherever this was, it was the, the ratepayers, the electric people were paying, they were paying for their electric. Yeah, and they used their water. So I don't know, I don't know. I'm just glad I watched that YouTube the other day, because I hadn't really thought about it. It was very informative, so thank you.
Like Pam and Jeanette was saying that if they can not charge the residents for their electricity, I don't understand how you can guarantee that or promise that, because there's a lot of broken promises when stuff like that comes into play. I don't support that then, and I'm not for them, so I can stand for that.
I'm a not only no, but hell no personal. And I'll tell you why. I've done a lot of research on this. Like closed loop cooling, it does reduce the amount of water that they would be taking from us, but it doesn't eliminate that. Okay? And if they want to have nuclear power next to them so they could get their energy, well, guess what? Those guys do use a lot of water. Okay? My understanding is that the state house and the governor signed on to a 3-year tax moratorium as far as tax incentives go. So it's not just, you can still build a data center, okay? You just aren't gonna get the tax incentives from anywhere in the state. Something I don't really hear anybody talking about, the long-term possible healthcare issues, health issues for both humans and our animals and our wildlife and environmental things. And there has been evidence out there that it's not good already. As well as, I don't want to see anywhere these are at, electricity rights, electricity source. Okay? Even rolling light up here and there, and I don't think any of us want to take a chance with that, and it's 122 degrees outside, y'all. So in the job state, it's very temporary while they're being built, and then after that, they're maybe good for about 20. So it's not a long-term great world thing. That's why I'm against it. Thank you.
Regarding water, people have to understand that this city only has allocation, guaranteed allocation for 100,000 families. We're right now at about 44,500 families. So to bring in a data center, I doubt it will ever happen. Number one, they do use a lot of water, and we don't have that kind of water to spare. Remember having some over flush our toilets, it worked. And we take the water, it's there. I did read an article as late as yesterday, that out of San Diego, they've got a desalinization plant down there. They'll be shipping water to Maricopa County, which is in Phoenix area, starting in 6 months, which will alleviate some of the burden on the rest of the individuals. This way, you might say going north, as far as saving water. California right now has 3 desalinization plants. If they had 6, they would be, magnificent. Be able to get buy water from them at a cheap rate. The only problem is, 3 they have right now, only one of them is working, and that's San Diego. That's one they're going to get water from. The other 2 are closed, and there's no chance of them ever getting 3 more in California. So with that, I'll say, I don't think I'll ever see data centers here. Thank you.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do for teenagers in our community?
Oh, I did a lot for teenagers when my kids were teenagers. I did, oh my gosh, I was, in so many clubs. I wanted to be involved because I wanted to make sure I knew what my children were doing. And honestly, I think that needs to happen even now. Our teenagers we can't rely on just the educators. We need to have parent involvement. You can't just drop your kid off somewhere and think everything's just gonna be fine and they're gonna have a great time. Parents need to get involved with what their teenagers are doing and keep a close eye. And that's exactly what I did. As a single mom, I had the principal's phone numbers, the teachers, they all knew me. When something was going on, they would text me or I would text them. I was so involved and on top of everything when my kids were teenagers, the Boys and Girls Club, anything going on in school, we were involved in many activities. Keep our teenagers busy, keep them doing sports, activities. If they need a tutor, give them a tutor. I was all over it. But parents need to help raise their teenagers and keep an eye on them, a very close eye on them. That's a very, very important time in their lives, teenage years. Thank you.
Question was, what am I personally going to do? For this new year, I'm not sure what the question is, but, there's plenty here for teenagers to do. I mean, we've got the parks, we've got the swimming pool, we've got, the summer recreation program is huge right now. All the sports, we need the parents to step up. That's really where we need to go, because it's not the city's job to raise your children. It is the city's job to have recreation and stuff, but it's the parents' responsibility to get them there. And being a teenager is really hard. And I kind of like to stay away from them now, personally. But they'll grow up. No, and just
As far as teenagers go, I do think there are quite a bit of things for them, but in summer it does get 120. Growing up, because I've lived here literally my whole life, probably longer than everybody sitting up here, and we had the rec center that was from the city, and that went away. I don't know exactly what happened, because the age that I was at, I didn't understand what was going on, where it went. It just was gone. And back then, my parents started, we did concerts for the youth. And we brought bands in, international touring bands, local bands. So that was something for the teens also, getting involved in music, which is really important. I do know, we took the tour, and at the Optimum Center, there are a lot of private businesses, in that building, like renting the space, I guess. I know one of them was a music thing. To me, it's not, there's a lot of low-income families here. And it's really, I know that, the Anderson Field has had the summer program that's put on by the city. My own child does those things. I'm fortunate enough to be able to afford for my child to do those things, because they're affordable to an extent, I guess, but, if you're low income, they're really not. Especially if you have multiple children. So I would definitely rally to get the rec center to return and have something indoors for these kids.
It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your child is?
you remember that?
Now, I think you're once the y'all would. You probably don't. So, okay, that, and I agree with Kathy. I agree with, Annette on this. We've got to get parents where they understand. We need them to know. What do we have to do? Do we have to get PD involved with TSAs or some type of education? Maybe, once the Boys and Girls Club gets back on its feet, and we know that's gonna happen because Dave Heath is gonna make it happen. and work with him on some things, to facilitate our teenagers, maybe while their parents are at work. But we gotta have it where they're staying home at night, because when I'm seeing on Facebook incidents page, you got a lot of bad teenager activity going on in the park, y'all. Now, when I was growing up in Vegas, okay, we had an indoor pool at the YMCA and it was great. And it was very, very cost effective. I mean, just next to nothing. And we also had a rec center that was indoors. So we had plenty of things when I was growing up to do that got us out of the 120-degree heat. And as I previously pointed out, some kind of indoor miniature golf, a bowling alley on our side of the river, so they don't have to, they're not going over to Laughlin, Smallfield Casino and all of that. I've heard that from a lot of parents. So that's just a few ideas that I have. Thank you.
With teenagers, the biggest problem we all face is their telephone. We don't know what they're doing with their phones, what they're doing on the internet. And needless to say, when you go to school, you're dealing with the wrong people. We have bullied each other, and I know certain instances where kids got bullied at school, they stay home. When they stay home, they get a little antsy, looking around for where they can find drugs in the medicine cabinet, the mother's purse. When it gets beyond that, they go looking for money, and when it goes beyond that, it costs the Walmart here in Bullhead City over $220-some thousand in money in actual asset loss as a result of that. And the majority of it is teenagers. The college is doing what they can with the perks type programs. I believe in on-the-job training type of programs, internships, voluntary programs, and our boys and girls school now under the direction of David Heath is doing a spectacular job to build that to where it should be. And last but not least, they have nothing to do when they graduate high school. I suggest to them that the best thing they could do is be involved with the city, find jobs during the summer, and if not, join the military. Because when you go to the military, you'll learn something in 2 years, you come off with a trade, and you'll be able to be a great tax-paying person as well as a great parent to raise your children the way you should be. Not only that, but you will be disciplined, you'll work valid, and most of all, respect for other people and other people's property. So there's a lot to be good children can be doing, teenagers. I know I got involved at a young age, and I think I did that as well. Stay on the trouble. Thank you very much.
I haven't had a teenager in a very, very long time. And I haven't been a teenager for a very long time. The city of Bullhead City hires people at age 14. They can be working at the park, taking money for parking. They can go to their lifeguard school. I mean, so they can do the job. If they don't, but we also have the Optimum Center that's open for open play, basketball, whatever, many hours a day, I believe. Bottom line, though, I gotta agree with all of those that talk about parental guidance and parents knowing what their kids are doing. Rob's looking at me like, you better be careful, my kid caused a lot of headaches in my life, but I don't have an answer to that. It's not for the city to build a specific rec room for them. We have Optimum Center, which is a rec room that's open to walkers, open to teenagers, it's open to anybody who wants to do the open basketball or walking and things like that. So that's what I'm thinking.
Candidates, question 7. How will you foster collaboration and cooperation with our neighboring communities? Tammy, we're back to you first.
Well, we already do. I mean, we about have to. I'm not real clear on the question.
But, we already do. I mean, I really don't even know how to answer the question, other than, I mean, Riverfront helps everybody around here. And when I say every, I'm talking Laughlin, Bullhead, Port Mojave, that, whatever, it helps all, Golden Valley, uh, thank you. We already do. I think that's a trick question myself, but we already do. We have to. We have to rely on each other. So anyway, thank you.
I only have one, thing really to say about this, I guess. And it's just because I hear it all the time, because I have a lot of, family and friends from Fort Mojave to the valley, and it's the parking at the parks, being charged, and I understand there's only whatever, $25 per year, but there are a lot of people in those parts of communities that own businesses in Bullhead City, and so technically they pay more taxes than anybody that even lives here. So I feel like if you own a business in the city, you should also be able to park for free. Maybe that's not a big deal to some people, but some people it is very difficult. So that would kind of be my thing, is including Fort Mojave, Mojave Valley residents in the parks parking that own businesses in the city.
Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe not the entire city of Fort Mojave, but one of the things I did when I was, going to small businesses all over our community, I was actually amazed how many of these people, actually, they don't live here. They live in Fort Mojave. And so that's what they brought up to me, was, hey, I mean, I have a business here. I'm paying taxes here. And so that's something we should look at as far as fostering a little bit more goodwill like that. So I totally agreement with that. As far as anything else here again, I mean, gosh, Tammy, you're right. I mean, I see a lot of wonderful relationships with our sister cities. I'm really not completely sure much more what we could do. Maybe I'm, wrong about that. But constantly, we're working in concert with each other between us and Laughlin, sometimes us and Needles. And I don't see what more possibly could be done. Thank you.
Many people do not understand or very are knowledgeable about it. The city does have what they call tri-city meetings. Every other month, we have meetings with Lake Halsey, and we have meetings also with Kingman. We get together and we find out what's happening from the state, from the finances, from the water, transportation, what ADOT is doing, or every piece of road that they're building right now is being put in at one time over a period of the next 2 years and what the cost is. So the city is doing that. I know myself, I attend meetings down in Needles, I attend meetings over Lake Halsey as well. It's a Chamber of Commerce and we're going to be in town county. As far as parking goes, people have to also think about, we have 2.5 million visitors to this city every year. The money that is generated from parking goes right by law. It goes right back into the park so that you can have fantastic looking parks. And for paying $25, pay 35, and you can go 5,000 times between May and September. So it's not, that's a poor excuse as to money to cut financing, because those finances are we revenue that is needed to keep this city running. Thank you.
Just to make sure I understood the question, it was, what will we do to foster relationships with surrounding communities? Is that correct? Bullhead City is a city, Fort Mojave is county, Mojave Valley is county. As Dan said, we have tri-city meetings, so the 3 major cities in Mojave County meet on important basis.
And so we have good working relationships. I believe that the residents of Fort Mojave and the residents of Bullhead City have good working relationships. But the parking at our parks, the $25 a vehicle, is much less than the $25 a person or whatever it is that they must count. However, we just approved $1.5 million over the next 3 years for lifeguards for that park. We get no assistance from the county, we get no assistance from the state, we get no assistance from Nevada, we get no assistance from the Coast Guard that's supposed to be in charge of that. So the monies that are charged there, as Dan said, go straight back into that part. They don't go to Rotary, they go to community. And in order to make sure that our visitors and our residents are safe when they're on the water, we've got to be able to pay for those lifeguards. So I don't know that I answered the question the way somebody wanted, but that's it. Thank you.
Well, we all know that Bullhead City is incorporated, Needles is incorporated, Fort Mojave, Mojave Valley, and of course Laughlin is not. But we are a tri-state community, bridge to bridge. We are together as one. We take care of each other. We support each other. The more resources we have that we're known of, the more we can help others. The company I work for, Family Care Home Health and Hospice, we only service Arizona. But we see accounts and Needles, Laughlin. I need to know who can serve them if I can't. So the more I educate myself with resources, the more I can help people that aren't in the city. But we have people that live in Bullhead, Fort Mojave, Mojave Valley that work in Laughlin. But they're still part of our community. They live here, and vice versa. There are people that live, that work there, that live here. It's just, we are a whole community, even if we're not incorporated together from bridge to bridge. We are one. We work together. We work in different cities. We live in different cities, but we're still one. When I sat on council, I placed on the agenda the park issue for the passes, because Fort Mojave residents buy groceries here in Bullhead City. They work here in Bullhead City. And I fought, I am fighter. If some of you don't, and I don't know if you know. They wouldn't approve it. I got shot down, but that's okay. I tried. I wanted Fort Mojave, Mojave Valley, because I feel like you're one community in your part to get free pass, just like the Bullhead City residents do. Thank you.
Okay. What are your thoughts about the sales tax as the city's way to get visitors to pay for our infrastructure? Which that's what they use. What are your thoughts about sales tax as the only way to get visitors to pay for our infrastructure, which they use? That's the question.
Their business is to put their responsibility with state cards or censorship.
Whoa.
You guys are, I can make one before you come.
Yeah.
And find another way. That, I would assume that's the city manager's job, if that's what his goal is, to bring tourism to Bullhead City, then that's his thing.
I'm reading it as it's written, so. What are your thoughts about sales tax as the only way to get visitors to pay for our infrastructure, which they use? Would you like me to ask a different question? So here, what I believe they're saying, what it sounds like to me is how I feel about the tourism and paying for our infrastructure, that works. That's very good. It's better that they're paying for it, we're paying too, but we get a lot of money from these tourists. We do. And, stand by, they shop, we get that 2% sales tax and it's good for Bullhead City. So I'm fine with the tourists. I mean, they're money makers. Does anyone else want to answer the question, or do you want me to ask a different question?
I'll be happy to answer it. The only revenue that the city gets is the 2.75% sales tax to operate. That's it. Very little comes from anywhere else. There's some money that's brought in from grants. I know we have Travis and we have Eddie. They used to get over $100 million worth of grants from the last couple of years. So the only extra money we have is from the sales tax. And then any revenue that's generated from tourism, because we are becoming a jewel of the Colorado River. From having people come here, as I mentioned, they had last year a little over 2.5 million people who are visiting Bullhead from normally when I have more than that this coming year as well. So I think what they're saying, now, the city is not and cannot raise your sales tax unless it's on the ballot and voters for it. So I would never vote for any increase in tax. I hate paying taxes. I paid them all my life, and I'm still paying. I'm gonna tell you the last thing. Anyway, so I think that's what they're talking about. The city does have to have a strong infrastructure. Water, sewer systems, transportation, technology, and you have to improve and maintain those basic systems as well. Thank you.
So I think the person is asking, why is sales tax the only way we're collecting money? I think so. And it's not. That $25 to get into community park or to Rotary Park is going to keep those parks and those where our visitors are going. In the summertime, they're going to the parks. And in fall, they're going to the baseball fields and the soccer fields and the football fields because we have a huge sports tourism. So that's not the only thing that is supporting it, but we also in the city do not have a property tax. You get a property tax bill, but if you look at it, it goes to the county, it goes to the fire department, it goes to the schools and the college. Nothing comes to Bullhead City. So I'm not sure what the question really is, but again, other revenues are coming in from sports tourism as well as shopping, gas taxes, so on and so forth from all of that tourism.
Oh, okay. You know what? This wouldn't be a great community if we didn't have our visitors. They make a huge economic impact, a positive economic impact on our community. Groceries, gas, hotels, the parks, they're bringing their sports, they're bringing their youth here to play ball, to do whatever it is, but they make a huge positive economic impact in our community. So, the fact that they are even wanting to come play ball with our park, a lot of these clubs pick our park. They pick Rotary Park. Not just for the river, not just to come to have fun, but they come to play their sport. But again, they're spending money, they're eating, and they're probably drinking some alcohol. They're staying in a motel or they're renting a house or Airbnb. So, it gets a little crazy on the holidays and when our visitors are here, but again, they've always made a positive economic impact on our community. Thank you.
Okay, question 9. If people sign a nomination paper for a candidate And then also sign electronically for the same position or candidate. Should those signatures be disqualified?
Well.
Jackie, you are.
Yes. You're signing twice. Normally, though, that's going to be called. Especially if you do electronically. So, it was my understanding when I got my signature to make sure that people understood that. And they understood that running for a four-year position, there was only two, they could only sign for two of us. And so on. But that was my understanding, that's what, was that you can't do it twice, that's just probably gonna, null and void at least one of those two signatures. That's a pretty short, sweet question there to answer.
I don't do anything electronically. I'm not on social media. I mean, I'm really just gonna want to find out something out there. Shower stuff, water. There's over one choice and stuff like that. That's why I don't care about all of this stuff. Because 95% of it is dribble anyway. But how only that, you never make friends when you're on the internet. When you do something like that, it's called requiring resistance. And there are criminal penalties that you can have, whether it's sanctioned with fines or whether it's going to jail. So I do not believe that we should count that person's signatures and give a vote to it. I mean,
When I got my signatures, I actually had some that signed before Mojave. I had some that I noticed signed on the previous sheet or online. And I went through and I crossed off on the paper ones, the ones that were duplicate. So absolutely, if they're duplicate, they should not be counted. But rules need to be followed, just like financial reports need to be turned in and things like that. And unless it's challenged, they don't know that people aren't following the rules. And sometimes when it's challenged, if the person doing the challenging doesn't follow the very detailed descriptions on how they have to do it and pinpointing where the errors are, then the courts are gonna throw it out. But by all means, yes, if there's duplicate signatures, one of those signatures should not, one should not be counted. If Annette signed mine and she signed Dan's and she signed Jackie's, the two that were signed early as dates are the ones that should count.
Yes, you should always sign once. If there are two signatures, then you definitely mark one out. I had marked them out from Fort Mojave, Mojave Valley. Of course, my question is, are you registered voter to live in Bullhead City? And they're like, yeah, and they sign, I'm like, well, okay, you're really hot, but that's okay. Thank you, I appreciate it. But of course, I would mark that out, but absolutely, if, again, as Pam said, if somebody signed mine and somebody else's, whoever, if you looked at the date, if it got challenged, whoever signed first would count that signature, the others would have to be marked away, taken away, so, yeah. It was, when we first started the electronic signatures, what was this, 2 years ago? It was, wasn't it? Gosh, it was even, I'm challenged electronically, even though I'm a senior here, so my kids are gone, I mean, I have to talk, they moved out, how do I start this TV with this PlayStation thing? Whatever happened to just the remote? But anyway, I was a learning process for me. And it's a learning process for the voters, because some of them don't trust it. Some of them like, I don't want to do my information in there. And I'm like, well, it's secure. It's not going to go anywhere. No one's going to see it. But if you're not comfortable with that, of course, you can sign it, come in person and we'll take care of that. But yeah, it was different, that's for sure. But the second time around was kind of easy to do. Like everybody had to think of to sign it. But yeah, only one should count. Thank you.
The expert here on this. I have my signatures challenged twice. This last time, it went to the Arizona Supreme Court. Now, I am going to tell you something. When you get your signatures,
I've done it 5 times, and on the ballot 4 times. When you're getting your signatures and you're working, you're going, sometimes it's 4 or 5 months. You don't remember. It's not a lie. It's not a lie at all. But, I know that there are council members, I will not say any names, that they only turned in like 4 over. They should have been challenged, because that's not how it goes, but they weren't. And I'm gonna take credit for this. The only way you can get challenged is if you really make somebody mad and they hate your guts. And that's what happens. But yes, you should, Bart, actually, we've gone through all this with the Supreme Court and all that. Bart was the only one that signed electronically and, paper. And he went to my house, or went to his house. I said, oh, here, just sign it, do it paper. He goes, I think you signed. I said, I don't think you did. Well, you can't remember. So you get your signatures, you gotta get so many, and then, you turn them in. And if you have enough, 70, 75, 80, 200, 300 over, you're gonna be fine. But, yeah, you know, this cheating, supposedly cheating on these signatures is really, really getting ridiculous. So thank you.
If a person signs nomination papers for a candidate, and then also signs electronically for that same candidate, should the signatures qualify?
For the same, that is the, okay.
Same position.
Okay. That was kind of my question when I started running, was how you can keep track of when you have electronic things going through, which those were verified immediately. But then you have paper positions. I believe everybody up here was getting signatures for 5 or 6 months before I came into the running. I had like 3 weeks to get my signatures. And I believe I had probably 70% of my signatures were electronic, because social media is extremely powerful. And when I turned them in, before I turned them in, actually, I turned mine in last because I wanted to pull everybody else's signatures and cross-reference to make sure that nobody that signed, I did ask, obviously, you know, if you signed for Tammy or Annette, because that's who I'm running against, if you're a registered voter and if you live in the city limits. Before I turned in my signatures, I cross-referenced both of the lists of everybody that signed theirs and everybody that signed mine. And if they signed mine, obviously mine was gonna be last because I did come in 1 month before having to turn in the signatures, that I just crossed it off. I didn't even turn those signatures in. So you can do it yourself, but otherwise you'll get challenged. But I do think that it is confusing having electronic ballots and or petitions, signatures, and papers going around at the same time. I don't know what they can do to kind of fix that system. You can't obviously go completely electronic because there are people who don't use the computers, so it's kind of hard, other than cross-referencing yourself over and over.
How do you plan to handle people pulling signs from the ground during the election period?
I challenge them to a fight.
And then you start.
Thank you very much. The law says you cannot touch those factors no matter what. Whether one blocking you, whatever. If somebody get another sign from the state or somebody like that blocking your sign, pick up your sign and move it. That's the best thing. Don't touch it. You could be fined and you could more likely end up in jail doing so. I know I have 2 guys constantly checking what my signs are because we know everyone does this. They keep it registered. And they're watching for people damaging signs. They know that if they see it, they turn their license numbers, pictures, and names of individuals so that they can be prosecuted. I can't think there's another person. Thank you.
We have lots of experience moving signs. Just ask my husband. Just this morning, he went out and moved signs, because as you, most of you know, I have an individual in this town that does not like me, and he has little signs that are pointed at my signs. So whenever we see them, or we are notified of them, we go out in the morning, because our street is much cooler, and we move our signs. We do not touch his signs. I have had signs cut in half. I have had signs stolen. I have had signs blown away in wind. So how do you plan on handling it? There's not a dark thing I can do unless I catch him on video, and then I would send it to the police and say, arrest his ass right now.
You know, people should respect candidates that are running because we're taking time out of our life. We're spending money on our signs, and they should just respect what we're trying to do and make a difference in our community. Do not touch anyone's sign. If there's something that's, if it's bothering of you or doing something like that, our phone numbers are on there. Call us and we can move it, put it somewhere else, but don't touch it. And if somebody does touch my sign, I hope somebody records it and sends it to me or post it, because I do want them arrested. I want to see this through. People have gotten away with it for too long, and too many times. It's just, and they're not cheap. It's, you know, we're spending money for these things. Again, we're all candidates. We just want to make a difference in our community. Be respectful. Those people should be very respectful for for who we are and what we're trying to do for our community. So please, if anybody's out there, not just my sign, anybody's sign, record them, take a picture, and get it to the police department, because something needs to be done. Thank you.
I have the same person putting little signs by his pants, trying to get it together. I'm guilty and she's the IRS bitch. Anyway, you guys, I gotta tell you, I've heard these, oh, they're cutting signs, doing my sign, doing this, that's it. Ever since I've been on council, I've heard people talking about that. If they steal your sign, hope you catch it. More than likely, it's gonna blow away in the wind. Now, if somebody's slicing it, that's just me, and there's karma for that. So, you know, one time, I don't remember when it was, I had 3 signs out. I told Dan, I said, I think signs are overrated. I really did. So anyway, we have been arrested if I can prove it. Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
I don't, obviously, I just want to, I want to know what you're guilty of, and I want to know what you're guilty not guilty of, but defamation. Oh, that's what it's for. Okay.
Jackie will finish with you, still move on to the next question. Okay, well, gotta agree with you guys. I mean, obviously, it is against the law, and the law is quite clear on that. These people who do these things, they're just cowards in my book. And the other thing is, you know what, all of us up here, we just want to be of service to our community. Okay? And to deface our signs, to cut them, to remove them, whatever is wrong. Those things are not cheap. And I'm hoping that people do get caught. Like you said, bad karma, at least you know what happened. But if you don't, I've seen this on Facebook very quickly. What they say is, oh, I just don't like the signs at all, period. Well, you know what? How are you gonna get your name out there? So you use all of the above approach to get your name out there, especially when you're a little bit more unknown and not incumbent, such as myself. There's something wrong with that. It's not gonna be up there very long, and we will take them down. So, you know, if you're gonna be with the candidate, you don't have to destroy their sign that they say don't be enforced. It's wrong. And again, it's cowardly. And please take those pictures and film the people if you see it and turn it into PD. Thank you.
Okay, question 11, this will be the final question as we reach the 7:30 deadline. How do you plan and what would you do to support both recognizing as well as helping to fix the rising problem of our 12 to 15-year-olds who are vaping marijuana and tobacco? Repeat the question, what steps would you take to help recognize the problem as well as fix the problem, which this person says are 12 to 15-year-olds vaping marijuana and tobacco? And Pam, we start with you.
The issue. What definitely say there's some, you have to be 18 or 21, whatever it is now, to purchase tobacco or tobacco. Okay, so the police can maybe do some education with the store owners, things like that, I guess. But it's not a city issue. It's again, maybe they do education with the stores and remind them that the ages to purchase this stuff, but other than that, I mean, are you gonna pick up the kids and Judy because he's a baby? I mean, really, I mean, I'm not sure what motivates this question. It's, yeah, it's bad, they don't know what that's doing to, you know, I mean, tobacco does have lots of years, so I have to be guilty as a tobacco smoker, but they do not know what that does to your energy. So yeah, it's a bad thing, but it's not the city's job to fix it.
Well, I'm gonna agree with Pam, this is not a city issue, and I'm gonna go back to parenting. Honestly, you need to keep an eye on your children. Teenage years are a very important time of your life, and that your teenage years can be absolutely amazing. I raised my 3 kids by myself, and I was a very strict mother. I hate to say this, but they did fear me. They did fear me. When I set a curfew, they knew what the curfew was, and there are consequences. You want privileges, you have privileges, and you need to follow the rules. If you can't follow the rules, there are consequences. One night, my middle son was on his way home, and it's almost 10 o'clock, and his sister, big sister, came in and, Connor, where are you? I'm on my way. And she's like, you're gonna get in so much trouble, you have no idea. If you pass 1 minute past 10 o'clock, you're done, you're gone, you're in so much trouble. So that night, of course, my son's zooming home and Roy Nesta and get pulled over by a cop. And he tells this police officer, do you know my mother? Do you know Annette Clayton? And the police officer said, yes, we know Annette. Well, you know, if I don't get home in like 3 minutes, she's gonna hurt me. She's gonna hurt me. My mom, he said, she's kind of crazy. She's a little on the strict side kind of thing, but honestly, parenting, you had children for a reason. Parent them. Please parent them, educate them, be patient with them, teach them, and pray that they are surrounded by other good teenagers and parents as well. Thank you.
Well, 15-year-olds, is that what it was? Well, 15-year-old smoking or vaping or whatever. Well, we have an issue here because they're underage. So somewhere they're getting it. So are they buying it and the stores aren't, you know, getting ID? Or are they getting it from a friend? Are they getting it from a parent? Or are they stealing from their parents? But this is once again, not a city issue. But there is stuff going on with the kids who think they shouldn't be doing that, but it's not a city issue, it's a parent issue. Thank you.
I know everyone keeps saying it's not a city issue, but, back in the day, I mean, maybe like 20 years ago, maybe not that long, but, there used to be stickers everywhere that said meth, not in our town, like the police station had this whole thing of meth, not in our town, and on billboards, so maybe do that, like, scare them. The way I had the faces of meth on billboards, with smoking a vape with what it can do to your lungs or the inside of your body, you know, it's not a city issue, but at the same time, it can be addressed by the city if it's that big of an issue. That's just all that came to my mind, this whole thing, was that everybody talked about that. I don't know what you call that, campaign, I guess back then, that's all everybody does, but on and on chat.
I remember being that age and maybe possibly did a few things I shouldn't have been at that age. Now, guess what? Where there's a will, there's a way. When you are 12 to 15, 16 years old, they'll find a way. Okay, I do agree with all of the above. This is a city issue. And this is not a city issue. And the parenting thing, we can go back to that again. Okay? You know, marijuana is legal. So that's what some of these young people are saying. Well, it's legal. Why can't I do it? You know, it's the old, like my dad used to go, okay, do as I say, not as I do. And I talk about smoking. Guess what? I ended up smoking for a lot of years of my life. But it does go back to parenting and yeah, maybe PD here again can do some wonderful community outreach things, and I'm just magnificent at that. And I adore them for that. He's some great outreach guys. But it basically, it's a parent's responsibility here again. Thank you.
The other thing is the fact that it's a parent's problem, as well as the school. I think the schools should do a little bit more. I can remember back when Nancy Reagan was in, we had a program to take over from Los Angeles. They had patrol cars, house bands and stuff like that, saying no to drugs. And they would go to the various schools and have programs. And they would have contests. We need that today, and we need the parents to enforce it as well, because today, most kids are not in a two-family, I just said, two-kind home. There was one, and then the kids go out and they try to be the peers out there and find emulate and be and they get themselves in trouble. So I think not only that, but these kids aren't just vaping tobacco. Today what they're doing is they're using some methamphetamine and they're also mixing it with fentanyl. So the deaths for fentanyl is increasing. And I think that parents have to do more, know where their kids are going, monitor them better, make sure they're not smoking and vaping. And then we need a lot of time to put in shelter and talk a lot of as well. We got to put the idea that the kids only 15, they should go to jail. No, if he did a crime, he should get his ass thrown in jail. There's no two ways about it. I can remember back years ago, because I worked 2 years ago, that if you had 2 joints, you went to jail, and you were in jail for either 40 years, and not for the 40, that was county jail, and more than that, you went to state prison. And regardless of age, I think we got this little time with our laws, and we should have stronger laws as well. Thank you very much. All right, well, that wraps up the candidate questions part of the forum. Thank you, candidates, for your answers. But this time, we'll give each candidate a chance for a 90-second closing statement. And Tammy, we will start with you.
Okay. I have the most experience. I do know the issues. I'm asking for your vote, for the 2-year term. And I have a record. I know the issues. I understand the issues. And again, I'm gonna go back to this. This 2-year term should not be. It truly irritates me. And Mr. Head, Mayor Dolman, if I was there and if I was there and there was an appointment, I would pay, I would insist paying for the election because it's an elected position. And that's just how I feel. And, I hope I get your vote. Thank you very much.
That's awesome. Again, thank you all so much for caring so deeply about your community tonight. If you want someone, what, first off, I am about the will of the people, not the will of the powerful and well-connected. I don't want this job as a stepping stone to a higher office. I don't want it because I'm an egomaniac or I want to be on a power trip. I simply want to be of service to our community. So in closing, if you want someone who's a follower and not a leader, someone who will never communicate with you to see how you feel about subject matter. And if you want someone that will vote just to go along, to get along, then I do not vote for me because I will be the antithesis of that. Thank you.
Again, I have a clear mind and I'm able to focus on underlying issues within the city presented to me and the city council. My ethics and standards of public approach, I believe in fairness, honesty, integrity, and transparency. We need to recognize the needs of our city and have a common sense approach to all issues. It would be my pleasure to serve and build upon the success we have made over the past 4 years and promote the protection of our city and environment. When I don't know, I will be able to learn and I have the path. And I also listen and I read everything that is presented to me on city council. I sincerely hope you'll support my efforts, which is much appreciated on election day. Remember what the word be, like a bumblebee. That stands for background, education, and experience. I worked my whole life in that, and I appreciate it. We also want God bless the United States, Bullhead City, and all of our veterans and brothers and sisters and all the groups. Thank you for you and for each and every one of you tonight. Thank you very much for your privilege.
Hi, I'm Pamela Smith, and I'm asking for your vote on July 21st for Bullhead City Council for your term. I currently am the president of Colorado River Republican, if anybody's wondering why I'm really late. Kind of obvious. I moved here in 2000, or excuse me, I purchased a home in here, in Bullhead in 2003. I followed Bullhead politics since then, since I was paying taxes for things like the field house that I could not vote for because I did not live here. But I followed what's going on here. We moved here full-time in 2018. And since moving here, I have volunteered at numerous nonprofits in various locations, anywhere from the American Legion to the food bank to, the local Daughters of the American Revolution, where I was the treasurer, Republican movement where I was the treasurer prior to being the president. So again, if you want principled leadership with a proven track record as a fiscal conservative, please vote for Pamela Smith.
And then Wayland Wood here, I'm asking for your vote for the 2-year term on July 21st. That is my mother's birthday. She's in heaven with us, looking down on me anyway. I have leadership experience. I am extremely dedicated. I'm a fighter. I do my due diligence. Very committed to this community and have been for almost 20 years since I moved here. I moved here, knew I had to go back to work. My first job was at the newspaper and I just started meeting people. I was door knocking. I was just cold calling, trying to meet people and just got so involved in this community. I had to take a little step back because the little boys were kind of like, oh, who's this girl from Texas? So I had to just kind of introduce myself and go at, not my pace, at your pace. Because this is a different community, it's a small community, and people are very protective of this community. So I want to continue to serve on city council for 2-year terms, and I want to protect this community, take care of our veterans, our seniors,
focus on better healthcare. There's so many things in this community that we need to really fight for. Thank you very much.
And thank you everybody for letting me try again. I'm not good at speaking, so I did kind of write something as a closing statement and I read it and I shouldn't have because then I got all over the place and here I am all over the place again. So, I'm asking for your vote because the reason why I got started in all this was the water quality and that's something that's really important to me. I did have a meeting with Mark Clark today about it and actually there's a lot going on that's in the works that's kind of running along with what was important to me. So that was really cool to hear today. Another big thing for me is the youth recreation, which we talked a little bit about tonight. So that was nice to answer some of those questions. Actively raising kids in this time right now, that is very important to me. And then another important thing that I would like to fight for is to reform the city bidding process to ensure that local contractors and local workers get the first shot at every city project. I think that that's really important. They're the ones that are sponsoring our youth and taking care of their families in our community. And when that money goes to other communities, it's a little disheartening to see. So those are the issues that are important to me and kind of why I'm sitting up here today.
Thank you, candidates, for coming tonight and sharing your vision for our city. I want to thank all of you for coming today and hearing about the Bullhead City Council candidates and what they are wanting to do for our community. So we hope that you all receive some information that you can walk away with, help you make your educated vote on July 23rd. Should you like to review tonight's event, you can view on the Omni-Date Review Facebook page, on the website, and on the YouTube channel. On